But you know what I find very peculiar? Everybody that touches him goes to prison. His CEO, the Trump, chief financial CFO, I apologize. His chief financial officer just pled guilty to federal charges and is going to prison. But prior to going to prison, he's going to cooperate with actions against the Trump organization, because they were creating fraudulent tax documents and playing with the numbers and lying about properties and values and all that stuff. I mean, who else? This is the guy that sat next to him on The Apprentice. You know, the older white guy with the glasses.
That's who that is.
Yes, that was very quiet and, barely spoke.
The one that seemed like he had the sense.
Thank you. He is now having enough sense to plead guilty so that he don't get found guilty.
Yeah, I mean, when you only got about 15 years left, who wants to live him? He probably said, look,
no, but
I don't know. Whatever you need me to say, I'll just say it.
Trump's attorneys went to prison. Trump's, everybody around him went to prison.
All I'm saying,
there's so many.
He was old 10 years ago when the show was happening. So in my head, it's like, why should I even fight these charges? Like,
no. Let me tell you something.
No. You ain't let me go there yet. Like, I probably got a good 15 more years. It's going to cost me a lot of money to fight the FBI. I'm pretty sure there's something that we did that was not right. So let me just go with it, because I'm not about to go to jail. So
no,
easy peasy.
That would make sense if he had a probation plea. He's going to prison. Who avoids prison by pleading guilty to go to prison?
How many years he going to prison?
Many people.
Oh, you're right. Let me stop.
That's why you got a lot of people.
I do have
prison.
clients that have pled guilty to avoid prison. When I said, let's go to trial so we can beat this case, I think you have a very good opportunity to beat it. And the person hired another lawyer, pled guilty, and went to prison for longer. I was like, whoa.
Some people be about their life.
What life? Prison life?
That prison life.
Well, go ahead.
Some people
Maybe the food is better than I've heard rumors about.
Some people like strife.
I've heard that they have roaches and worms.
Some people don't like to pay rent. Some people don't.
Free housing?
Free housing.
Wow. Welcome to another episode of Diva Court. I'm your host, Marcia Mignot, and with me is my co-diva.
Is Dana.
That would be Tire Slashing Smith.
And don't you forget it. It's going to be a reckoning today.
We are not responsible for the things she's going to say today.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. So do not bring an action against Diva Court, because you're going to get your feelings shook.
I was about to say, somebody's feelings is hurt. Like, we need to really, really start putting in self-esteem classes in like elementary schools, because
people's feelings are getting hurt very quickly.
So soft. What happened to Sticks and Stones? Like, everybody want to have feelings. Oh my gosh.
Well, nor are we going to believe anything she talks about.
Oh, what I'm going to say is the definite truth.
Lies, lies, lies. We don't own the rights.
It's the definite part that I think gave everybody pause.
Definite.
Yeah, it's the definite.
It's the definite truth. It's my truth. You mean so it's definitely mine.
Definitive?
No, the definite truth.
Okay. So it's like
it's definitely the truth.
We
the
do
truth
not
from
own
my perspective.
The rights to the truth from her perspective, nor the truth from any other perspective, nor what we're going to talk about.
I'm gonna need you to you all over the place.
I am trying to open the show.
I know.
And we don't own the rights to what we're going to talk about.
How many times you gonna say that
in this episode? And this diva is hard to rein in at the gate.
She sounds like she's one of those hostages where she
at
has
the
to
gate.
continue to repeat.
I'm going to just repeat it one more time. We don't own the rights to any of the topics.
Is there a
we're
Morse
going
code
to
going
talk
on?
about.
Like, are you sending a message to the FBI? Like,
look,
I'm
FBI,
being held hostage
FBI. Here. Y'all see this right eye winking?
You got to do it with your foot when nobody knows.
Look, I'm twinkling a toe, y'all. Y'all see the toe.
You good at the foot signals.
I know.
This show, ladies and gentlemen, is for edutainment purposes only.
That's what's up.
Please look for our videos every week on Wednesdays. Don't forget to subscribe. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
We are definitely on Apple.
And Google Podcasts.
You can Google us.
And be sure to catch our videos every week. On Wednesday, we push them out for you on YouTube so you can see all the colors of the divas looking beautiful. Don't you want to put a voice to a face and a face to a voice?
You do.
You can't unless you check us out on YouTube. Click and tell us what you want to talk about. Tell us if you hate the topics we're talking about. Hey, no topic is off limits.
And
okay, then again, it is. Some of them are off limits.
And then unlike most people, we don't be feeling bad that you don't like it.
No, you won't hurt our feelings. Can you tell we don't have feelings?
We want to bring you topics that you like. You know?
Yeah. We want to talk about what you want to talk about. We want to give a perspective that you have. And the only way you can hear it on Diva Court is if you tell us about it.
Nice.
This episode is sponsored by Cutie Nails and Spa in Midtown. They're offering manicures, pedicures, facials, and lashes. Make sure you enjoy a spa experience. And
Excuse me, sir. Don't disrespect her and cut her off.
Excuse me? Are
He's
y'all
cutting you
interrupting?
off while you're doing
Are
your...
you interrupting?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like
my monologue?
Right. Stop interrupting her monologue. What is wrong with you?
This is just unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. Co-Diva applications are coming near you.
Why? The producer just interrupt you.
I just don't know what to say, listeners.
They
But
don't...
let me start.
Y'all don't want this job. I'm working in a hostile environment. That's the kind of words you use when you work for corporate America. Hostile environments. And I think it's because I'm black.
We can't discriminate here at Diva Court.
That's what they all say on paper.
We love everyone. And we respect everyone.
I need to be doing Morse code now.
I'm going to take it from the top.
Oh, please don't.
This episode is sponsored by Cutie Nails and Spa.
I thought she was going all the way to the beginning.
In Midtown.
I was about to say, no. Please don't.
Y'all see how disrespectful she is to our sponsor?
Am I who?
Disrespectful to my sponsor.
Pronounce it correctly.
Cutie Nails and Spa in Midtown. Offering manicures, pedicures, facials, and lashes. Enjoy a spa experience and let a team of cuties take care of you. Finally.
We're in an audio-visual space. You just leave all that empty space in that read by making no noise.
You know what it's called? Do you know what it's called?
Silence, which you don't know.
No, it's called
in the middle of my monologue.
If you want to see it, that's what I know you was going to say something. If you want to see it, then you have to go to the podcast and watch it. It's called a teaser.
Well, you have to at least inform them there's something being teased.
No, I knew you were going to do it because you're so critical behind the mic. You're so critical behind the mic.
Is this part of the hostility?
Critically acclaimed. I know. This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, my
hostility
word.
that I feel.
Last time I
So
checked
because
the
I knew
mirror.
he was going to say something, that's why I did it.
You decided to interrupt the rest of the monologue.
She did. She interrupted my
I was just trying to
monologue.
break it up because they'll be like, oh my gosh.
Please
there she goes.
don't interrupt my monologue, okay?
No, he interrupted your monologue.
You interrupted my
I
monologue.
checked him for you. You're welcome. I told you I'm laying down the law today because y'all
Look,
have been
You're out of order.
No, you're out of order. you guys have been out of control these last couple of shows. Somebody has to bring the shit together.
I cannot take it anymore. Look, if I can't get another diva in this application, I resign.
Well, I guess, Miguel, you're going to need to sit on back here. I'm going to put the...
I'm going to do like Donald Trump. You're fired.
I can't be fired.
Okay, you can if I go to Mar-a-Lago and federally execute my warrant on you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Mar-a-Lago, the feds raids Mar-a-Lago and takes out 27 boxes of items that should not have been removed from the White House when former President Donald Trump left. He packed his bags, but there were things in his bags that were contraband. He was not allowed to take those secret documents with him. The federal government has executed a search warrant. Now, you know what I find peculiar, listeners? The fact that they were begging him to return them. Why would you ask him to return them? I wonder if I had things at my home that the federal government thought I should not have. If they would call me and say, Marcia, would you be kind enough to return those items? We feel that you've broken the law, and we just want to give you an opportunity to return them before we go to the magistrate and get a warrant to get them. Do you think anybody else would have been afforded that type of deference?
From listening to the talk radio shows that I listen to.
Oh, here we go.
There have been other presidents who have maybe took documents that they felt were supposed to go or stay at the White House or go to the archives or wherever. And that's what they did. They gave out a request, and then they just actually sent them back. You know what I'm saying?
They followed the rules.
Right.
My bad. I should not have taken that.
So
feel free to come get it. So it's not uncommon then for them to ask the president, please return them.
Before they need to put out.
But after approximately 7 weeks, if not more, maybe 7 months. I know there's a 7 in there. It's either weeks or months. And his attorney said that there's nothing. According to the reports, his attorneys did an affidavit stating that, we don't have anything here. Nothing to see here. And then when the federal government said, execute that warrant, we know he has those things. And they go in there and get 27 boxes.
So are they charging him with anything?
I think they're coming.
And I think that.
Let me tell you where I think they're coming from. A lot of people are thinking the charges are going to stem from just the fact that he took them. I don't think that's where the charges are going to stem from. The charges are going to stem from what he did with them. Who had access to them? Did you sell them to Russia? Did you sell them to an oligarch? Did those people on video, because the reports are alleging that there's video footage of the comings and goings of Mar-a-Lago. So I'm assuming that the federal government is looking at the video footage to see who went in, who came out. Did they come out with boxes? Did they come out with documents? Who did you give that to? Because remember, everybody was so concerned about Hillary's emails and them getting into the wrong hands. And now we have very high sensitive information that is so secretive that it's only supposed to be looked at in a particular room. We have a special place for you to view these documents if you're going to have access to view these documents. And now they're at Mar-a-Lago, which is a club where people can come and go as they please. And who got to them?
I just think we should.
I think that's where the charges are going to come from.
I think we shouldn't get caught up into this. This is another. First is the Hillary thing and a probe that led to nothing. Then it was the Russia then took over the elections or interfered with the elections that led to no arrests. Then it was the Trump and the Ukraine and the quid pro quo led to nothing. Then it was the Joe and his son Hunter and somebody in China, and it led to nothing. Now I just feel like anytime it's an election, it's always something, and it's going to be all this uproar, and it's going to lead to nothing. I don't believe that for the sanity of their country, there will not be a president indicted unless a murder is committed. They'll find some way to wash it over or make it seem like it's not as big as it's supposed to be. All of this is an election year. Oh, the FBI is investigating and blah, 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 blah.
Election year for who?
For governors around the nation.
Oh, but not for president.
Not for presidents. Okay. But, this is governors are like second next to president.
So let me ask you a question.
I just don't think it's going to, I just think it's the election year and it's nothing's going to transpire. What do you
think the motive of Liz Cheney would be to give up her seat in an election, because she just lost to a person.
She didn't give up her seat.
No.
She lost her seat.
No, let me tell you. No. She gave up her seat. And let me tell you why I believe she gave up her seat. She knew the high risk associated.
Oh, you're talking about, but she ran again. She didn't hand over her seat. She didn't say, I'm not running.
No, I'm not talking about literally backing out and not running. I'm talking about not doing what everybody else who wants to hold on to their position of power did, which is go right along with the Trump train. You understand? Mm-hmm. She knew the risk associated with, I mean, let's not play with each other. Her father is former Vice President Cheney. Let's not play. He knows the game. He knows where the bodies are buried. He knows what's going on in their party. He knows the effect that Trump has on their party.
Is he still alive?
Of course he's still alive. Okay. She consulted with him the other day.
Taking young children's hearts.
Yeah, he did. He did get a transplant. He jumped ahead of the line of a 20-year-old that was waiting on a heart.
Taking all the hearts. Making sure all the little kids.
He in line. When he need another one, you better watch out.
You, they be taking.
So stay away from him.
More than one way.
How old is your son? 13. A little too old. I need a 9-year-old heart.
Yeah, so I think that her actions is signaling that there's a problem for the American people. Because for her to have sacrificed what she sacrificed, which is her political career, her position. In fact, she had plenty of examples before her. There were 9 other individuals it's now 10 who voted to impeach Donald Trump, who have lost their seat to individuals that Trump has backed. 10 of them. She's number 10. So there were 9 ahead of her where she could have backed off and said, I want to keep my job.
Okay, so where's your point?
My point is, for her to be behind the investigation and for her to say, let's look into it, people. Where did those boxes go and who did that information go to? There's a lot I believe she knows that she can't just jump on TV and blurt out because she's trying to keep.
No. I guess my point is, I'm not saying that none of this is true. I just don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay, so you're just saying nobody's going to be held accountable despite what's going on.
It's like when you have a phone call that says, hey, if you want us to send you this money, you need to do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And he's like, oh, this is a perfect phone call. And everybody can tell that this is not a perfect phone call. And if it was anybody else, if it was a senator, if it was this person, if it was that person, they would have been locked up.
If it was Obama, he would have been locked up.
No. I feel like the presidency, to set a precedent that after a president leaves office, that's why they didn't get Bush for war crimes. They don't want to set a precedent that after a president leaves office, we'll go after him for whatever. Unless there's a murder. I mean, I just don't.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think if there's evidence that these documents have been given to Russian spies and it can compromise?
They had Russian spies all through their campaign.
You mean he got one at the White House, allegedly, his wife?
Michael Flynn was kicking it with Russian spies, talking about what they were going to do with the sanctions that Obama put on Russia prior to them even have any type of, access or power or authority in America, talking to the Russians.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
And it's not, and I trust and believe it wasn't Michael Flynn doing this on his own. It was from Trump, who was telling him, go ahead and have that conversation because I'm going to take care of it. So when you don't get, as an elected, you're not even president yet, but as an elected official, you completely violated American policy, foreign policy. You completely violated.
So that means
and you didn't get arrested for that.
The rules to qualify to run for president has to be changed then. Because if the person running for president can be of a lower moral character than the people that he can select for his cabinet, something is wrong with how it's set up.
Who sets the morals?
Well, what I'm saying is, if you're a person who's not going to follow any of the rules prior to running, the rules must be really weak if you could still run.
But who's going to change the rules?
That's my point.
That was post-election, though.
Yeah, I understand it's post-election, but my point is the things that
but we're in a democracy. We're in
a shamockery.
Don't put air quotes. It is a democracy
where electors decide who's the president, not the population, not the people.
Okay, so close. You're close, but you're not there.
The Electoral College does decide the presidency.
We understand that, but it's like
I know. It's so close to the line, but your vote counts.
I mean, it does.
It does.
It does
guide the electoral college.
It does guide
a little bit.
It does
and
guide
you designate how those
That's
electors
exactly why those Republican officials were able to say, all right, we're going to vote for Trump. And if they didn't get caught up.
No, it's not if they didn't get caught up.
They got caught up.
If the sentiment didn't
they
sway.
know that, but they had the ability to know that there was a route. When there's a route for you to make this decision, and you as a grown adult knowing the possibilities of what you're doing is close to treason, but you can see a pathway to do it. To me, it's like
it's still treasonous. So I want you to understand that what they were going to do was illegal by the Constitution. Illegal. They were trying to facilitate and manufacture a reason why that was a legal thing to do.
But I'm pretty sure that
there's no right way to do a wrong thing.
It's not illegal until they're convicted.
No. No. Come on now. If you commit a murder and you didn't get caught, is it not a murder?
You might have good reason.
No. I didn't say what your defense is to murder. I said, did the crime get committed?
It might not be a crime. If I killed you I go to trial and I'm found not guilty, it's not a crime.
No, ma'am. You are confusing crimes with defenses. There's two different things.
And not only defenses, but judgments.
Correct.
So if I kill someone because
okay, let's not even talk about killing. The speed limit is 55. If you exceed it, did you commit the crime?
Only if they catch you. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound?
The answer is always yes. Let me help
you. Don't know. How you know? How you know?
No, let us help you.
No witnesses.
Yes.
No
if the tree fell, it did. It did fall.
No witness.
Made quite the sound.
The sound waves. In order for there to be sound.
No. The question would be, did you hear it? And the answer is no. I didn't hear it, but it did fall.
There are some sounds that dogs can hear that we cannot. So if the sound plays and we can't hear it and there's no dogs around.
The sound did play.
But that don't mean
you didn't hear it.
That don't mean it happened. So it's the same thing.
No, the sound played. Mm-mm. You just didn't hear it. Okay?
No, ma'am. I'm going with my analogy. It sounds it's true. The only way we know that it happened is if there's a dog that responds to it. Speaking of that, there's this thing that goes around on the internet where they play this sound, and at a certain age, if you're over a certain age, you can't hear it. But if you give it to a kid, the kid is like, "Oh my God, what is that?" You know what I'm talking about? So if I didn't hear it, it did not exist. It's just like if I tell my kid, "Dior, get up," or "Come here," and I don't like that theory. Because she might. I didn't hear it, so it didn't happen. I said what I said. Get your ass up. You know you heard me.
Look, I'm glad you thought out loud.
No. Because, I had this situation with her just like yesterday.
You just rationalized yourself out of your own argument.
I had this argument. I just had a conversation with her yesterday, right? I said, "Dior." And she was like, "Yes." So, and I was getting ready to go to work. So I didn't have time to go into her room. And I said, "Dior." And she was like, "Yes." Like, she annoyed. You know what I'm saying? But she like laying in her bed because it's in the morning. And I didn't have time to get to her. I'm trying to get dressed. I'm like, "All right, you about to miss your opportunity." Because I'm about to give her some money because she wanted to go to a birthday dinner later on. And I wasn't going to be able to give her any money. So she came out here and she goes, "Oh, what's going on, Mom?" I said, "You know you heard me calling you." "I didn't hear you." "Well, why you respond? Like, I know you heard me because you said yes. So stop creating the story that didn't happen." But usually she don't respond, which makes me even more mad. And I know that you heard me, but then I realized she don't hear me because she be sleeping with her headphones, which I need to tell her not to do because she don't mess up her eardrums. So that's another story for another day.
Sure is, because you're off topic. Mar-a-Lago, federal government raiding the Trump facility.
It ain't gonna go nowhere.
Let me tell you something.
"Oh my gosh, Trump, he going to jail. He going to jail." And next thing you know it.
Listen to me. Nobody is saying he's going to jail. What we're saying is,
so what's the point?
If the federal government does their job, which they have to, They can't just say he's a former president, he's not going to jail and walk away. That's what I don't understand with people who are saying, why bother do anything? You understand what I'm saying? Like, why bother police the streets? Why bother have law enforcement? Why bother, have a speed limit? Just let everybody drive whatever speed they, because you have pandemonium. We still have to investigate. And if they find out that he took them, but like other presidents, all he did was take them, he didn't do anything nefarious with them, nefarious meaning illegal, and that he didn't share secret information that could compromise the United States with anyone, then of course there's not going to be an indictment or any criminal charges against him. Now, where I expect him to be arrested is in Fulton County Superior Court, where he actually did call, and the call was recorded by the Secretary of State in the state of Georgia, where he was asking for 11,000 blase number of votes. That's a problem. That's election interference.
Were those the actual numbers?
Those are numbers. 11,000.
Like blase. Over?
He said that's all we need. Blase. So he had already calculated the number he needs. And I think if they actually do their job in Fulton County Superior Court, he will be arrested and an indictment will be issued by a grand jury for his arrest for election fraud.
Well, wouldn't his argument be, well, I know we needed 11,000 to win, so if they
sir, you can need it, but you tell that
extra,
no,
or they found 12,000 extra, as long as they get past this
you're
number.
not allowed to tell them that, sir. You're not allowed to tell them that, because when the Secretary of State is on the recorded call telling you, sir, we've counted them, and we've counted more than once, and we don't have that number.
You need to recheck.
Hey, check it again.
Make sure they're not in the trash.
Yeah, you just can't say.
Or in that ballot box that I left over in the corner.
That's great. You just can't
Go just check that box. It should be like 11,692 in there.
Exactly.
Just find those.
That's the issue.
There we go. They're there. You just have to find them. You haven't found them yet. I know I left them there.
And we're talking about pressure. I know we've played. I don't know if we played
Under
the call
pressure.
on here.
No, we haven't played the call. We need to play the call so that it's clear. But you know what I find very peculiar? Everybody that touches him goes to prison. His CEO, the Trump, chief financial CFO, I apologize. His chief financial officer just pled guilty to federal charges and is going to prison. But prior to going to prison, he's going to cooperate with actions against the Trump organization, because they were creating fraudulent tax documents and playing with the numbers and lying about properties and values and all that stuff. I mean, who else? This is the guy that sat next to him on The Apprentice. You know, the older white guy with the glasses.
That's who that is.
Yes, that was very quiet and barely spoke.
The one that seemed like he had the sense.
Thank you. He is now having enough sense to plead guilty so that he don't get found guilty.
Yeah, I mean, when you only got about 15 years left, who wants to live him? He probably said, look, no, but I don't know. Whatever you need me to say, I'll just say it.
Trump's attorneys went to prison. Trump's, everybody around him went to prison.
All I'm saying,
there's so many.
He was old 10 years ago when the show was happening. So in my head, it's like, why should I even fight these charges? Like,
no. Let me tell you something.
You ain't let me go there yet. Like, I probably got a good 15 more years. It's going to cost me a lot of money to fight the FBI. I'm pretty sure there's something that we did that was not right. So let me just go with it, because I'm not about to go to jail. So no, easy peasy.
That would make sense if he had a probation plea. He's going to prison. Who avoids prison by pleading guilty to go to prison?
How many years he going to prison?
Many people.
Oh, you're right. Let me stop.
That's why you got a lot of people.
I do have clients that have pled guilty to avoid prison. When I said, let's go to trial so we can beat this case, I think you have a very good opportunity to beat it. And the person hired another lawyer, pled guilty, and went to prison for longer. I was like, whoa.
Some people be about their life.
What life? Prison life?
That prison life.
Well, go ahead. Maybe the food is better than I've heard rumors about.
Some people like strife.
I've heard that they have roaches and worms.
Some people don't like to pay rent. Some people don't.
Free housing?
Free housing.
Wow. Sounds like the slaves. You got free housing and good treatment. Somebody said that when Michelle Obama said that she was living in a White House built by slaves and how fantastic that was. Remember him? Mr. Fox News?
Which one? O'Reilly?
O'Reilly, honey. O'Reilly came out and said, what is she talking about? The slaves were given housing and treated very well. They were fed and given housing. So maybe that's what it is. I just didn't expect, people of Caucasian to do it. I expected people of color maybe, since they were the ones that's used to being enslaved, to say, I'd take it. But him, I didn't expect him to do that. I think if he could beat the case, he would try it. I would expect him to try the case. I wouldn't expect him to be afraid and take a plea because he's scared that the jury's are going to find him guilty. I mean, I know people do it all the time.
If you are that connected to Trump, it's a likely
you probably
chance
did a whole
that
lot of
about to
illegal
go,
stuff.
right. You gotta. Well, I wasn't going there. I was more so going with.
It's likely you've done a lot of illegal stuff.
Like at my job, if I was to ever say something positive about Trump, I would lose probably like 95% of my clientele. So if I know that, I don't really have anything positive to say about him, but I even beware with the jokes that I might say that might come off positive. Well, he know how to play the system. Oh my gosh, So with that being said, when you know the climate against Trump is not a positive one, and you get a jury that's gonna give you them like, yeah, he's guilty, give him an X. Why wouldn't you just be like, I'm gonna take it?
Have you been on a jury?
I keep trying to sign up for it.
And they realize
I keep forgetting that you create evidence every week of why they don't put you on.
I want to sign up.
No, she keeps reminding you of why they don't do it.
No. I wish I could.
Yeah,
sign
so
up.
I mean,
I don't think a juror. There's a difference. There's a lot of talk that happens before you're on a jury, and then you get on a jury, and it just changes. So
it has to change because when you get there, first of all, you're sworn. And then when you get sworn to ask questions about your own personal life, then you go, whoa, these people know me now. You understand what I'm saying? People can say things. That's why they say people say things on social media because they're not in your face. They'll say things on social media and be insulting to people because they're not in that person's presence. And that when you're in someone's presence, it makes it a little bit harder for you to do the things that you feel comfortable doing because you feel like there's this firewall between you and the person who you're attacking. So I find that when I'm doing jury selection, that the jurors getting questioned about their personal lives. You have children? How many children do you have? They get nervous about those questions.
I guess my question is, where are you going with, have you been on the jury? Like, where are you going with that?
Well, that's what I was saying, that you come in thinking that you have these prejudices and you're going to use them. You're going to use them, but you'll find yourself, or people will find themselves like enthralled, especially with a case that is intriguing, and they came in with some notions previously, and then they see evidence and stuff like that, and they're like, "Oh, this is completely like not what I expected, and I'm going to go this way."
Well, but that's if you're on the jury. But if you're the person who has never been to court, you know what I'm saying, and the atmosphere is Trump haters, and you're associated with Trump, and you're in movies with Trump, you don't know that the jury might be intrigued by your case. You may just think, I need to take this plea. Tell that to all these black men who took a plea just because they didn't want to face a jury.
No, see, all right, here's the thing. This is where the direction I wanted to take us. I think that's bad attorneying.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's your attorney coming to you and being like,
scaring you.
I don't want to work this case anymore. And I've
yeah.
milked the 120,000 or
that you've already paid me. I've used it.
Paid me.
We've gone on vacation. My wife has spent it. The makeup is gone and the eyelashes she installed.
Again,
and now I don't want to try your case.
How many times you like take that to trial and they're like, oh no, I want to go plead guilty with somebody else. That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, it's more of
people will gain confidence from their attorneys. You understand? A lot of my clients who actually will take a plea over my legal advice are usually clients that, oh my God. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to drink to that. Let me just drink to that because she wants to take a drink and in the camera.
That wasn't what that was about.
In the camera.
Do you know what that was about?
You're going to see her put her hand as if she's ready to take a drink. So we're just going to drink to that so she don't look odd taking a sip.
No, I know what you're talking about, Dana.
Ta-da. Now we're drinking to that. Okay?
You can't.
So, back at the ranch, when we were talking about jurors associated with Donald Trump's CFO pleading guilty, a lot of times it's family members or third-party influences when you have a good attorney that's ready to say, no, I think we can sell it. I think we can sell it. And the family is like, don't do it. Just take the plea. It's only going to be a year. You'll be out in a year. You'll be out in 2. You know what I mean? It's not going to be that bad.
Then when they come home, it's like, why you at this house? Well, I can't find a job because you told me to take the plea. I got a felony. You got 2 days. You can get out my house or pay some bills.
No,
they do. That's real.
Very much it.
That's
right?
real.
And this is why I say it's attorneying. He didn't switch attorneys in order to take this plea. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same law firm.
Yeah.
And they're like, yep, that was about what? 300,000 worth. That hit a mark. That'll hit a mark. Don't you want to take a plea? We've been talking to FBI the whole time. And, they're over here saying this and saying that. Wouldn't it just make more sense?
And you talking about the CFO, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah. But the producer's point is that sometimes it's not necessarily the defendant, but it's the influence of the attorney that is so
they
powerful.
It's gonna cost you a lot of money. Did you see what happened with Michael Flynn? And Trump ain't in there to pardon you, so you might want to take a deal. Let's see if we can work the best deal out for you. And I can get you out in about 6 months.
But what do you think they were saying?
You'll still be young, old, and viral to see the great
viral, not vibrant.
She said, no, he viral. He gonna catch COVID.
Young, old, and viral.
Viral. Pass that COVID up in there.
Probably some monkeypox in there.
Get a little monk.
No, but
what if the monkeypox hit the jail? That would be terrible.
Are you?
Did it happen already?
Okay.
Yes.
It happened. What county?
What do you mean, what county?
How about all counties? I'm sure they had monkeypox in there.
Oh my god.
They're just not mentioning.
I know they had the COVID, but the monkeypox, everybody itching. I remember having chickenpox.
It's rough.
Not fun.
It is rough. And it leaves crazy marks on your body.
And monkeypox is worse because you get knots instead of the chickenpox was just sores.
You get knots too. If they get big enough. If they get big enough.
Okay.
Back at the ranch, CFO pleads guilty. So what do we think?
I think he ain't had no
Do you think
choice.
he's going to give up anything when he testifies against the Trump organization?
Depends on how much Trump is going to pay him. But guess what? Trump ain't got no money.
I don't think that man want nothing else to do with Trump.
Never paid
for anything.
Trump ain't got no money.
True. He promised it.
No, Trump is going to be caught like, yeah, I'm going to cut this check for you. I'll have Mike send you the money.
He is the primary example of how white privilege can just
all the way. All the way.
You so
all
far.
the way.
Mm-hmm.
So
all
far.
the way.
Like, can you be mad at that, though?
I'm not mad at it. I just want some of it.
Jesus,
I'll have what he's having.
If there is reincarnation, can I come back as a white man?
No, you'll come back as a white man when black people running stuff.
You ever heard White Man's Burden? You ever seen that movie?
No.
Yeah, you don't watch it. Have you seen The White Man's Burden?
Is this? No, I've heard.
John Travolta is in The White Man's Burden, and it showed how black people were the
majority.
They
were running everything,
and he was just a white man living in. It's like a time to.
It was flipped.
Yeah, it was flipped. It's like a time to kill when Matthew McConaughey was doing his
closing argument,
and then at the end he's like, "And imagine she was white," and everyone was like, "Oh, she was a white girl," and they were like, "Guilty, because she could have been white."
No, guilty for the white girl.
Yeah. Guilty for the white
the one
girl.
I imagined in my head.
The one I imagined. And imagine. I mean, the camera came in close, and imagine she was white.
Yeah, that's
man.
Kudos to you, CFO.
Just to correct your idea on that movie, it was actually not guilty because they understood the remorse of their white daughter.
Wow.
Remember, he's on trial for killing the man.
So the white man
Samuel L. Jackson is on trial.
Oh
yes,
killing the man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Not
You're right. Because which is the best superhero ever. You know, Jack Bauer was the guy who was, not on trial, but was the one that raped the little girl. But his name wasn't Jack Bauer in the show. But he
Thank
was
goodness,
Jack Bauer
because Jack Bauer
24.
is from something else.
He was Jack Bauer on 24.
He was very young.
Best.
He was very young.
Yeah. The best cop that I know. I'm just saying.
Alec Baldwin is looking at cops right now, wondering why are they still trying to arrest him. Listeners, Alec Baldwin Here we go again.
Before we
Somebody
go there,
is after Alec Baldwin.
Since we talking about movies, wouldn't it be cool, right, if they took all of the best like action heroes and put them in one movie? But when I say I'm talking about with their character, not like let's put them in. But you have your Jack Bauer, then you got your Dennis Hayward from The Unit, then you have like, I don't know who else I like, but you know what I'm saying? Steven Seagal from.
What does that have to do with Alec Baldwin and
in
this
the
gun?
movies.
Okay, so you're trying to create a movie with all
the best, like Steven Seagal from not the Expendables, but
So,
Steven
let me ask
Seagal
you a
from
question.
like, Under Siege. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Are you asking for the actors or for the character?
I want the character. Like,
so all the characters put together in
characters
one movie.
from that one movie. That would be a freaking amazing movie. Not the Expendables, because they were the actors in one movie, but they weren't the characters, which is different. Because the characters, you want to see who's the best, or like Jim from The Office. He's in that other TV show now, Jack Ryan or something. Put him in there. I'm just saying, like, that would be very interesting.
Listeners,
wouldn't that be something you watch?
Alec Baldwin is sick and tired of being sick and tired of talking about movies.
I don't think he was in a good movie.
Rust movie. The Rust movie.
Well,
the federal government.
He wasn't in an action movie.
His last movie is going to knock him dead.
Oh, Jesus. Have mercy. Look, y'all all out of order, okay?
Pun intended.
Let me get to the show. It's called Alec Baldwin. The federal government has come out. And here's what they did. They made a mess, in my opinion. Because they said that there's no way that gun could have fired unless you pulled the trigger. And that's technically correct. However,
okay, so then it's absolutely correct if it's technically correct.
No,
right?
technically correct.
So what's the difference
because it's not inconsistent with what Alec Baldwin has said, which is I didn't pull the trigger.
I guess my question is, when you say technically, what else is there left?
Okay, so technically meaning you can have your finger on the trigger but didn't pull the trigger and that gun can fire because of where the
So when you
firing,
say his finger's on the trigger, this is not a good example.
No,
of a
that's
gun.
not.
Was it just like my finger's on the trigger, or was his finger pressed down?
Okay,
Was
so
it gripping?
it takes a certain pounds of pressure to pull a trigger in the weapon. So when you're talking about the little hole that the trigger is actually in, if Alec Baldwin has pulled that trigger part down,
So he pulled the trigger.
before he clicks, and clicks this part back, right? If he releases the trigger, the gun is going to fire.
So he pulled the trigger.
So in his head, one, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances. One, I have an armorer and I have a producer. Everybody's clearing guns and I don't clear guns. I'm Alec Baldwin. I've been on a movie set for the last 3,000 years, right? I've never checked one. I've done movies with weapons throughout my entire career. I've never checked one.
We need to check those statistics. Has he ever been on a movie where he
For
would
3,000 years?
Not 3. Where because I don't know a movie.
Oh, you
that
just want to check the years? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it was Mel Gibson, then I would be like, he's been in a lot of things. But I can't think of another movie because anybody who teaches guns, I'm pretty sure that they have to have a gun safety person there.
Here's the thing then. Then that's even a better defense for him.
Exactly.
This is my first weapon I've ever used in any movie that I've done. So I trusted the experts, which is the armorer and the producers, to make sure that there's no live ammunition on set. Because that's what I've been told. These are supposed to be blanks. Everybody talks about movies, blanks. So I think, first of all, if there's something that's going to make noise out of this gun so we can get the sound that a gun makes when we fire it, then it's going to be a blank. So that's even a better defense for Alec Baldwin if he's never been. Because if he's been through 3,000 movies, then people could say that's bad because you've had training on all those sets, and this set trained you, and that set trained you, and that set trained you. So you should have known
somebody
out of all those gun movies you did.
Somebody taught you right.
Would have taught you how to handle a weapon on the set, whether you thought it was loaded or not, whether you thought there was live ammunition or you thought there was blanks. So in this situation, when Alec Baldwin did his sit-down interview with George Stephanopoulos, his allegation is that he did not pull the trigger. I can understand in his head if he's been handed a firearm that he's been told twice, because it goes through 2 channels. Gun is safe, gun in my hand, right? Safe. So I've got 2 clearance. The gun has been cleared twice before it actually makes it to my hand. Now it's cleared and I have it in my hand. And I'm pulling down the trigger, and I pull the trigger down and nothing happens, which is the type of gun he was having. That's the case. If you pull just the trigger down and you pull it all the way down, nothing happens. When you click back, the little thing that makes it fire, right? You cannot let go of the trigger, because if you let go of the trigger, the gun is going to fire, right? If that happens, that makes sense.
Was he practicing?
Yeah, this was just a test run. They were doing a test run. So
shot preview.
Yeah,
just trying to line the shot up, make sure what it looked like, and see what it was just gonna look like on the video.
Yeah, so that makes sense when he's testifying, but not testifying, but when he's giving his statement to George Stephanopoulos that I didn't pull the trigger, because when you play with that weapon, you can go pow, pow, and you're going to see it go, pow, pow. You're going to see the thing fire out, because it has to strike with a certain amount of punch to get the bullet out of the gun. So you're going to see that happen if you're pulling the trigger. But if most people are not talking about it, and what I didn't like about the FBI's report is that they didn't explain to the general public in their report. However, we're concerned about different circumstances. And I must be fair to the listeners. Full transparency, I did not read the entire report of the FBI. So if it's somewhere in there, don't come for me.
And quiet as it's kept, the FBI, from what I've been listening to from, the James Comey report, the Donald Trump situation, they're not supposed to talk about an investigation in the meantime. And every time they open their mouth about an investigation.
Well, the good news is they're not involved in this investigation. They're not.
How did the FBI?
Well, they were just, I don't even know why they did a test of the gun, if you ask me.
First of all, big organization. Second of all, there are times when they're supposed to talk and times when they're not supposed to talk, and times that they don't want to talk, that when people are saying,
you should talk.
We want to hear it. And then so they talk. You understand what I'm saying? Because transparency is now the new keyword of the internet,
that is.
Right. Where
J. Edgar Hoover messed it up for the FBI.
I think there's someone else who made it worse. But
could be that there's fake news.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm pretty sure the internet and Donald Trump has helped.
No, I think J. Edgar Hoover was just the worst.
Hoover?
Whatever.
I
don't put no spec on his name.
What are you saying? Hoover, damn.
Damn that.
No, Hooger, damn.
Hooger,
damn that. I was thinking about Karen off of
Hooger, damn.
Potomac Housewives. She was Hooger.
But I think it needs to be clear for people, because if it's not clear for people, then you hear people thinking like, oh, Alec Baldwin should be arrested, Alec Baldwin should be charged. But there's not a remedy for every wrong. It's sad enough that someone lost their lives. I can understand, where I wrong Alec Baldwin, because there are people, just like in the Will Smith situation, that no matter what that man says, no matter what he says, if you're not an Alec Baldwin fan, you're not going to like what he says. You're going to nitpick every little thing and come up with a reason why you think Alec Baldwin. That's why a defense
that's what
attorney.
You did to Will.
No. That's what I said to Alec Baldwin. Shut up when you have a criminal investigation
so that's what you did
going
to
on.
Will, though.
Will doesn't understand that there's not criminal charges coming thanks to your friend who you slapped in the face and made him famous. He was infamous.
He was already famous.
And now he's famous.
He was
now
pretty
his
famous.
ticket sales are through the roof because people want to hear jokes about
That's great. That's 2 years of that.
words not
Once
hurting you.
He gonna have to learn that Kardashian plan when you do something crazy to get back in the news once your hype dies down.
Oh, is that what it is? Well, he did something crazy, a fake apology. All right. So, R. Kelly, Chicago federal trial.
Breaks. I think I have one more question. Because
this is not about Will Smith, is it?
It's
No.
Alec Baldwin.
No.
He wants to ask about Alec Baldwin.
No, more of the FBI aspect of the analysis. And from what I remember here, the gun was already going to go to them for that reason. They asked the FBI to do this, so they released their report. It wasn't a continuous investigation.
I see what you're saying.
It was...
Oh, could you please check this out and give us a report?
Yes.
Okay.
So
they don't have their own police department to do that? They don't have a GBI?
People push if they want it to go even higher.
Sometimes DAs will do that. When they think that this is too high profile for me to have my office do it, they'll send it off to the FBI. Because I've had Clayton County District Attorney send cases to the FBI and say, you take this.
I mean, I know that was
They do it for GBI too. They'll call into GBI to do their investigation.
I know it was slow down, but I think anytime a cop or police officer, is once they finish their investigation, I feel like all stuff should be like maybe the stuff that's from Georgia should go to like Florida, and then Florida should go to Colorado. So
she's talking about grading your own paper in school. You remember that when the teacher used to hand out your paper to somebody else?
I think that would be so much like it'd be twin, So
that's too much.
I know
this government is a hot mess as it is. That's another level of corruption that is you just couldn't control that. You just couldn't control that. I mean, plus jurisdiction would be an issue.
Watchdogs. It's watchdogs.
You would need a regular federal watchdog agency.
It's just better to. There needs to be more citizen involvement in some of the watchdog stuff that goes on, and educated citizen.
Yeah, because you might get that one state out. Was it Delaware, where the lady was just like guilty, drugs. The
one that was taking the drugs. They said I didn't have to test it because I was testing it.
Well, one side of the state taking the drugs, and the other one like, I don't even feel like going to this.
She's like, how you like that? Are you going to get a conviction?
If he wasn't guilty, he wouldn't be on my table.
No, she was sweet on the prosecutor, so she was trying to help him get convictions. Speaking of convictions. Speaking of convictions.
Okay.
R. Kelly's Chicago federal trial has begun, but it seems like a rehashing of his 2008 criminal trial, where he was found not guilty, because witness was called listeners, and one of the witnesses that are called in the case is the young lady who was allegedly in the 2008 video. She is now 28 years of age, and she testified, and the video from 2008 was played for the federal jury in Chicago for them to watch. Then she testified that was her.
There's no statutes of limitations on this.
Let me tell you something.
Not like 20 years ago.
It's amazing to see how the judicial system is now bending the rules to do what they want. So the means are starting to justify the ends, whether the means are lawful or not.
So so they're charging him for the P tape.
I'm sorry to interject, not the federal trial. This is the state one. Remember, they did the federal.
The Chicago one?
Yeah.
Okay, because the article I had said this was a Chicago federal trial.
No, just a Chicago trial.
State.
Okay.
Because that was New York. The federal New York was in New York. Yeah. And the New York one, he got 30 years. And now this is a Chicago trial. But I thought it was federal. I could have sworn it was federal.
So how are they retrying him for something that they already tried him for?
They're saying we're not retrying him. We're only using evidence from that case in this case.
For what case?
To get a conviction in this case.
On what?
Enticing minors for sexual pleasure. For
who is the victim?
They've got 4 other people now that they're alleging are victims, but they're using the young lady from the 2008 case as a witness. And first of all, that's prior bad acts. That's 404B evidence, and you're not even supposed to be able to use that type of evidence. But evidently, the rules don't apply depending on who the defendant is.
If he got 30 years, like what else are we giving him?
We want more time in Chicago. Well, he's only 55, so they're thinking we don't want him out at 85.
Oh, if the young girls is chasing after him at 85, just let him go.
They're gonna marry him in prison, girl. Watch and see. Somebody's gonna go to prison and say. In fact, I thought there was a rumor about him. Somebody saying they were pregnant, and they got pregnant by him, and they were having his baby, and all the people are like, well, is he getting conjugal visits? How does that work? But it's just crazy to me to see that we're willing to do just about anything. I mean,
maybe they know that the New York case ain't going to stick because
on appeal it's going to come back possibly.
Because of the RICO.
What I found most telling is that he's hired 2 white female defense counsels. So now he's being defended by 2 white female attorneys. They're gorgeous. They're dressed well, and you should see pictures of them walking to the courthouse. I said, okay, R. Kelly. You woke up from hiring the black man in the New York case.
He need to go to jail.
For hiring the 2 white women?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't think he should get free?
All of those black women who were just destroyed. There's always some white woman come try to save some black man, and then he be thinking, "Oh, these white women are so great," and the black women get stomped on all the time. I'm just saying.
I think it's a smart move, R. You should have done that in New York. You probably would have gotten a not guilty.
Yeah, because who cares about the black women that he mistreated?
Allegedly.
Yes, and
he got guilty for it, so we don't have to say.
Are you talking about New York or Chicago? Because Chicago's in trial. Okay, so he got guilty in New York.
Who cares about those black women who he?
Let me tell you where the problem I have is. These allegations are enticing a minor for sexual conduct, and my problem is I'm still looking for a minor. Other than Aaliyah, I cannot find a minor. 17, everybody was age of consent. Everybody want to pivot to mental control and psychological control and psychological
Stockholm
abuse.
syndrome is a real thing.
I'm not saying it's fake. What I'm saying is when you're talking about minors, don't use that word. You're only using the word minor because you want people to be more incensed about the charges. Bring the charges against the man for adults. And talk about Stockholm.
I don't care if they were adults or I mean, if they were adults, I still feel the same way. Like all these black women that were abused and used up and just stomped on. And then he hired these 2 white attorneys, women, these two white women attorneys to just seal the deal.
Wait. So your concern is not for the black women anymore, but because of the 2 white women, you have concern for the black women?
I was worried about them. I was not okay with Bill Cosby, but I was okay with R. Kelly. I'm just saying.
So now you're not okay with R. Kelly because
I've never been okay with R. Kelly. I was always like, ever since the Aaliyah thing, I just was like, I don't know about you, R. Kelly.
I'm not okay with anybody, whether R. Kelly, A. Kelly, B. Kelly, C. Kelly, D. Kelly, doing anything associated with minor children. But I'm not okay with a judicial system. I'm glad you got that right
this time, because that last episode that you was like, if he wants to lower the age of consent, I'm okay with it.
I'm not okay with a judicial system that wants to bend the rules to the breaking point to get past the law to do what they want to do, which is get him convicted. I don't agree with that. You have to get him the right way. And guess what? He's foolish. He's stupid. You can do it. Send in an adult. Send in an adult woman.
I am okay with him having people to represent his interests. I am not okay with the optics of it being 2 white women to destroy the black woman. And that's the only problem I have.
I say,
you've already given him the victory.
Kudos.
Did you?
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
she
not
said,
guilty because these 2 white women are here.
Don't you love it when white privilege works, even if it's 2 white women?
Let me tell you something. White women they are the most powerful creatures on earth. And when I say that, I'm saying it in a optics way.
Okay.
As far as I feel like,
because I thought that was going to be
white women in the optics way are the most powerful creatures. They can gentrify a community. They go to one Kroger in the hood and it just changes. They could
it's all fancy and trees grow up and banana plants are inside.
They could go to the project and just turn it into a condo association. White women are powerful. Don't let them get on. Let them get on your.
So if he gets convicted with these 2 white women, what you gonna say?
Like, y'all losing y'all power. But I feel like in optics, white women are the most powerful. I feel like black women are the foundation.
No, they're strong.
They are
they can endure.
Not according to not according to Dana.
What?
White women are weak.
Dana said he been trampling them.
Yeah, stepping on white women. They're not strong.
No. Well, here's the thing. Black women we are so embedded in seeing the success of our black men, be it our black sons. So maybe we over baby them, or be it our black husbands or boyfriends, or counterparts where we support, and just give our everything and all, and a lot of them don't deserve. There are a lot who do deserve it. I'm not taking away from those who do, and there's a lot that don't deserve it. And like I said, you'll never see a rich white woman trying to bring up a poor black man. But you will always see
Martha Stewart hangs out with
Snoop Dogg got money, honey.
He's not poor. You're right.
She'll find her a rich black man, but she not going for no poor black. I ain't never met one yet. Okay? But you'll see a black woman with power and this and that, and she will be saving her man from prison.
Black or white.
Don't matter. So all I'm saying is I think black women are the foundation. We are like what drives,
Well, I'm going to drive this to a closure.
Well, good.
Well, I thought.
Wait. What you talking about?
I know you thirsty.
Who thirsty? She thirsty.
We going to drink to that. Black women are the power. You don't want to drink the black women being the power?
Yeah, we are
and the foundation?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm a black woman. You just said that. You're struggling
in the
to drink
government,
to that?
there's like a shadow government. Like that's the black women. We're like the shadow government. And then the elected officials are like the white women. Like they're the face.
Look here, I'm just going to keep drinking.
Jordan Peele should make a movie about that.
About a shadow government?
Well, it's dark.
Look here. Should I keep drinking? I'm just going to keep drinking. Last episode, I said I had to drink through it. This episode, it looks like I'm going to have to drink through it.
It's dark. We're like the shadow government. We are the foundation. You don't see us, but we are pulling the strings. Just like on Scandal, when Olivia's dad was like, I'm running this country. And it's crazy that I'm a black man and all these white people don't even know I got the power.
Okay, so Mariah Carey says, I got the power to be Queen of Christmas.
She should be.
All right, before we move on, I do have one more R. Kelly side topic. And that is
he need to hire Bill Cosby lawyers.
We're talking about
That's what you saying. That's what you saying.
We're talking about a lot of like mental trauma and being responsible. When does your responsibility take over? I think we've had this conversation before, but
there's a difference between victim and volunteer. Okay, victims are all children because children are not adult enough and have not the maturity to be able to make a decision regarding the involvement.
Wait, so after what age are you like? Should be held accountable.
Okay. So the same age you're held accountable for crimes.
No,
and the problem we have in this country is there are too many adult ages. I've discussed this, listeners, in prior Diva Court episodes, and we have 17 in some states to be an adult to be charged for crimes, 18 to be able to contract, 21 to be able to drink, 18 to be able to join the military, 25 to rent a car. It's too many ages of adults.
Okay, so let me say this. If you have been a victim all your life, and when I'm saying like you've been sexually abused, you've been manipulated, you have been mistreated, you have been this, you have that, your psyche hasn't developed to have a self-esteem, a sense of self, knowing that you shouldn't be treated like this. No matter how old you are, you still have that mental capacity to not make right decisions. And there are predators, R. Kelly, who prey on people who are like that, who can subject them to these circumstances and lock people up in cages. I don't care how mentally sound you are. If you okay with going to be locked in a cage, I don't care if you don't have no other problems in life. If being locked in a cage is your deal, is your sexual preference, there's something wrong with you.
No, but listen to me.
So I'm saying is that
so then we would never hold anybody accountable. Because if I went in and I pled guilty and I said I pled guilty, my lawyer made me do it, and I had been abused all my life, and I'm psyche and my psychological made him get power over me, and he took me to the podium.
Why are you saying it like that don't be happening? When you speak from a place of power, when you a powerful woman, it's very easy to be dismissive.
So listen to me.
There are weak-ass women out there.
When are we going to hold the judges and the lawyers accountable for my guilty plea since I was abused all my life and I should not be up here at the podium?
I feel like if you're a lawyer who is
No. You don't understand what I'm saying.
No, I do.
I am saying, because the question was, when is the person accountable for their actions? That's the question the producer asked us. And I'm saying the person is accountable for their actions at one age, adulthood. Period. I don't care what your history
mitigating
is.
Circumstances.
Ma'am, they're trying to fry a young boy who shot up a school in Florida because he killed 19 people, despite the fact that he was a drug baby. He was a drug baby when he was born. He was slated for trouble. He had mental illness and the family wouldn't help him. His mother passed away. The system didn't take him. Somebody took him in and tried to help him out. And I'm telling you, and people are seeking the death penalty on him. Shouldn't. That's my point. And so when are we picking?
We're not going against each other.
No. We have to have a standard. And the producer asks us, when is the person responsible? Well, they're responsible when they killed 19 people, but they're not responsible if R. Kelly took advantage of them. But they're responsible if they took a plea. And the lawyer, they asked them the question, and the court asked them, "Are you freely and voluntarily taking this plea?" And they said yes. They're responsible, and they're not. What I'm saying is,
I've been in there for a traffic ticket, and they're like, are you freely? And you got being in a courtroom, and you're not used to being in court, and you're like on a traffic ticket, and you're like, yeah, because it's
okay.
A thing.
So then, should the system allow you unlimited time to come back? Just like we're doing in some of these criminal cases, to come back and say, you know what? I'd like to withdraw my plea.
Maybe it shouldn't be so
because
formal.
I was.
Maybe it needs to be a little loose.
No. You're not answering the right questions. You talk about formality and what we're wearing and all that stuff. I'm asking about the time. Should that person be given time now to come back years later and say, I should not have pled to that. I was at a vulnerable place. It was very, very stressful for me. Psychologically, I can prove that I wasn't in my right mind, although I said I was. I'd like to withdraw that plea. In what court system would you be able to withdraw it? So that's my analogy. If I won't let you withdraw it in a court proceeding, then I shouldn't let you come testify against anybody 20 years later to try to convict him for some acts that you engaged in. I think I'm lost in the sauce
because I didn't think we were talking about that.
Okay. So I'm just trying to give you an analogy that you're just not grasping.
But we were talking about different things. You made like 10 different arguments.
No. I'm just saying that if we're going to hold them accountable, the producer asked the question. Let me get back to the question. When are we going to hold the people accountable? I want you to stay focused on just that. And my point is, we need to pick an age. And we need to apply it across all circumstances.
So if you're 18, age is not. It should not be it doesn't matter how old you are.
For me, it does. It does.
Maybe it should be a mental age then.
No, because there's no such thing. I can't measure your mental age.
There is a cognitive age.
No, there's not. There's not a mental age. No.
It's still very subjective.
Of course. Who's going to determine? Who's going to determine it?
I don't think that age dictates maturity or concept of
it's supposed to, because your age is gonna there's life experiences that are gonna come associated with your age that experience is going to teach you. It's experience. That's a good teacher.
Ain't the same.
Let me tell you something. I was a kid, and as a kid I was doing stupid stuff. Let me tell you stupid stuff I was doing. I had a shoe. Okay, simple example. I'm gonna go real quick with this story.
You want to talk about how you was beating your nanny?
No. My parents had siblings.
Let's talk about that story.
My parents had siblings in England. Okay, and they sent shoes because they're supposed to be better for you for school and all this stuff. So I get this shoe, and I'm like, I was hearing family talk about how powerful the shoes is and how much stronger the shoes is than shoes that are made in the country that we were living in. And I was like, wow, this shoes is super strength. What do I do as a kid? I go outside and I see a board with a nail sticking up in it. And the first thing I do is I step on the nail with the shoe.
Jesus.
And the nail goes straight through my shoe and in my foot. I would never do that again.
That's why you don't wear heels no more?
Girl. What I'm trying to say is experience taught me that when I see nails, don't step on them. So as I got older, I learned that's not what you're going to do. So what I'm saying to you is age is a good indicator because there's certain life experiences that you're going to learn from. Kind of like when you're in college.
You have to step on hot coals to know they're not hot.
Yes. For some people, yes. Because some people are not going to believe you, especially in this day and age where we're fighting against the truth and the lie. Okay? It's hot over there. No, it's not, because I listen to talk radio and talk radio says you're a liar. So that's my point. Age has to be a great indicator as to when do we hold them accountable. We need to come up with a number. Now, we may need to raise that number to 25. We need to say, you're a child until 25. But guess what? We're going to lose some money in that, because now you can't buy a car.
Why we can't do a psychological evaluation?
Because it's subjective. One psychologist will come into a courtroom and testify to jurors saying, nothing wrong with you. And another psychologist will walk in that courtroom and say, he's crazy as a bed bug. He's eating his feces on Tuesday. And the other psychologist is an idiot. You ever heard the term battle of the experts? Two hired guns in the exact same experience, sometimes with the exact same experience, with the exact same educational level, testifying to two different things. You have people that are crazy, and there's people who you can hire that will testify to a jury. I'm an expert. I've been doing this for approximately 35 years. I'm certified in da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And they run down the resume and scroll it out the courtroom and say, there's absolutely nothing wrong with her. While you sitting there going,
what you doing?
eating your poo-poo.
Oh, in the court.
In the court. Yeah, eating your poop in the court. Okay? It's crazy.
Ooh, Mariah.
That's what I'm saying. You can't. What you said, speaking of crazy? Speaking of crazy. But producer, that's my answer. I don't know what your answer is. You don't want it to be age. You want it to be a psychological test.
I just think that age doesn't determine whether or not you are.
I think everyone can agree with that. Yeah. Age is not going to mark whether you have met all your goals. But the issue is there is no other way to mark anything else successfully other than how long you been on this damn planet.
And you don't know that? So here's another thing too, is when you look at what the parents' activities, we got to start holding parents accountable. And the problem is because we're not holding parents accountable, R. Kelly was able to get to other victims. And I say that because they
were minors, remember?
No. They're not minors, but they also had their parents' involvement. So if your parent is involved, they should be a defendant at R. Kelly's table, because your mother, who would fly you and sign over custody or guardianship to R. Kelly to you, and then want to turn around 10 years later or 15 years later and testify against R. Kelly that he did something inappropriate with your child, who your older daughter, because this was one of the stories in what's it called? What's the documentary called? Surviving R. Kelly. One of the documentary about R. Kelly included information about a parent whose older daughter, went with the child to make sure that she wasn't gonna, all the rumors we heard about him weren't true. Okay, let's hope it's fake news. So we send our daughter because we want her to be a star, but we send her older sister to police her interactions with R. Kelly and his team. The older sister calls home and says, Mom and Dad, they're locking me out of these meetings. They won't let me come. I can't get access to sis. Something wrong is going. The parents jump on a plane and fly up, right? What would you expect them to do? Grab their child and leave. That's not what they do. They sign over guardianship to the kid. I'm like, I can't even help.
So that was a minor who was being abused.
Yes, but the parents signed over guardianship after the older sister.
Allegedly
at that time, because he's still not even convicted regarding that.
So is this the one that they're charging him for?
No. Okay. That's my point, is there were so many before. Even when he got not guilty in 2008, there should have been no parent taking their child to an R. Kelly concert.
It's just like, maybe to the concert, but not to the after hour or to the backstage. Just like with Michael Jackson. You might go to the Michael Jackson concert, but you don't send your kids over to Michael Jackson house.
But my point is,
like your uncle.
If you're not going to hold the parents,
he couldn't come to
we've
my
got
house,
to stop cherry picking who we want to hold accountable and what laws we want to use to do it. He's got 2 defendants in this case. So I don't know who those 2 people are, but they've charged him with 2 defendants this time. I don't hear any RICO, and maybe that's because they realized that one-man racketeering does not work.
Well, it worked in New York.
now that they've got 3 people on trial, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Maybe, like I said, they probably are putting a case together that can stick, because they probably think.
Well, they're using evidence that I think is going to cause the conviction to be overturned if they do get one. And that is because they're using prior bad acts evidence. And to use prior bad acts evidence, I don't think courts like that, especially when those prior bad acts were used in another trial where the person was found not guilty. So I would expect an appellate court, if R. Kelly does get found guilty, to maybe struggle with the use of the testimony. They probably would have gotten the conviction without Jane testifying, but they're so greedy sometimes as prosecutors, and they're so desperate for a conviction that sometimes I think they destroy their own convictions with unnecessary evidence, because the truth about him is bad enough.
I agree.
Jingle bells. I can stop right there. Mariah Carey.
I think Jingle Bells is one of them songs that you could sing.
Right? I don't know yet, and I don't want to research.
That's correct. We don't want to research with our wallet. That's what you don't do.
Like church songs and Christmas songs.
Mariah Carey, ladies and gentlemen, has filed to trademark the term Queen of Christmas. Yes. She wants to own the term Queen of Christmas, despite the fact that before she made that Christmas hit, and when I say it's a hit, it is a hit. All I Want for Christmas is Mariah Carey's hit, and it's played by everybody, and it comes out every year, and I play it several times. But here's what I disagree with her attorneys and what they're trying to do. There's pushback because there are other artists that have Christmas songs that are saying, we've been calling ourselves Queen of Christmas, and we don't think that you should be able to coin it because it's too vague. And if you coin it, we can't use it, and we've used it. In fact, some of them are alleging we used it before Mariah Carey used it because she didn't even want to push out a Christmas
album. Your ass should have trademarked it. That's simple.
Said, no, we did not, because we find Queen, one, is vague, and Christmas belongs to everybody.
Well, Queen is vague. Christmas belongs to everybody, but Queen of Christmas doesn't belong to anybody because you got to trademark it.
And it should not.
Well, I mean, let the trademark organization.
Oh, it's going to be a fight.
The USPTO.
It's going to be a fight.
USPTO, I think that's right. Let them make that decision. And I think that she can probably win it. I mean, you just, it's not like she's registering cars. It's actually a connection. There's like an injunction between the two words. Like, it's not conjunction.
She needs an injunction.
I need an injunction. It's not like she's doing just Queen or just Christmas. It's not like she's coining Christmas. She's doing Queen of Christmas.
Have a seat and just play your song every year.
Why y'all hating
you
on
can
her?
call yourself Queen of Christmas. You don't have to trademark it. Okay? You don't have to trademark it. So,
I think this is very interesting because it's kind of vague. It's very vague.
Not when it's put together.
I think it's still vague even
Why
together.
don't you Google Queen of Christmas and see who comes up?
Well, it's gonna be Mariah Carey.
Exactly.
Now.
Because she said it.
Well, I know. Mariah Carey says it. It's trademarked.
So she don't need to trademark it because
the only person who can come for her is Celine Dion, okay? Or Whitney Houston. Outside of Whitney and Celine, can't nobody come for Mariah Carey. I'm just saying. Beyonce wouldn't be able to. If Beyonce made a Christmas song, which she did, which sucked. If she made a Christmas song and said, no, I'm the Queen of Christmas, they can't come for her. Can't nobody come for her when it comes to Christmas. Like, she is the queen. Give her flowers.
So why she can't just say, I'm Queen of Christmas and let everybody else say it?
Why she can't trademark it? Because that's her business.
Why can't everybody else say it?
Why? It's business.
What if I think I'm the Queen of Christmas? What if I think I'm the Queen?
Well,
now why I can't say that? Now I got to pay you to say it.
Hey, if she wants to take on all those lawsuits, let her. Maybe she got opportunity and free time.
It depends on how tightly niched this patent
area is.
So if you're saying
on all
that
Christmas
anytime
songs.
I make a Christmas concert, I'm gonna be the one labeling it Queen of Christmas,
right?
Which is tough if you have a list.
What about
Queen of Christmas?
Queen of Christmas.
I mean, they gave Michael Jackson
you the Queen of Christmas.
Michael Jackson's the king of pop. He did.
Yeah,
he didn't trademark.
He didn't trademark it.
I don't think he did.
And Aretha, but
Queen of Soul. Aretha. Hey, put the edibles down.
But
if
Aretha is the best.
And R. Kelly, king of R&B.
Put the edibles.
R. Kelly is not the king of
R&B. Look
R&B.
up king of R&B. Is it
Bobby?
He is
it Bobby
the
Brown?
Piper of R&B.
Yeah, he's the Piper.
That's so terrible. Everything that R. Kelly has done indicated that he was a sexual predator.
With kids.
I think king of R&B is...
they said Bobby.
Is Bobby. Yeah, that's correct.
I think it's going to be Bobby.
Who is that?
Bobby Brown.
R. Kelly.
Usher, king of R&B.
Hey, that's not Usher. That's new. Who is the king?
Oh,
of
so
R&B?
we crowning kings and queens over here all across the internet. So that's what I'm saying is she shouldn't be able to trademark
Why
it.
she can't?
Because other people should get to use Queen of Christmas.
Why?
It doesn't belong to her.
Why? That's why she wanted to trademark it. Did she already put her application in?
Yes.
Then let the USPTO.
Oh, they will. They will. Because, I mean, the other
and so
people.
when it come out right,
they have objected. They got their lawyers too. So it's lawyers all up in it.
You should have filed an application.
No, they're saying it's too
So who
vague.
was it first? Was it Bobby Brown and then it was
No,
R.
I don't know. It's still up for dispute.
Oh, okay. So nobody's decided. The king hasn't dropped yet. The crown is
I don't think R&B
rock and roll. Is that still
family? I don't think R&B is
rock and roll.
That's king of rock and roll is still
Isn't it Elvis?
not Elvis. Yeah. No. Mm-hmm. What's the one that be doing this? James Brown.
No, that's not rock.
Well, he's king of soul.
No.
Isn't he king of soul?
He was the king of rock and roll. Put James Brown king of rock and roll. He was.
I don't think it was James.
That's not how you conduct searches. Again, I just want to inform the audience. This is not the way you conduct a search.
You don't dance.
No, you don't type the affirmative into the search box.
Make it in there.
Because it's going to pop up the affirmative that you searched for.
The two things.
All right, king of rock and roll. I think rock and roll was a black people thing.
So we gave it away? Does Khalees know that? Does Khalees know that the king of rock and roll has been given away? I wonder if she would mad. I told you it was Elvis.
Yeah,
it's Elvis Presley.
It says the real people. Some people
Chuck
claim
Berry?
that it's Elvis Presley.
All right, well, we have to go off
click on
popular.
Yeah,
United Music Radio.
It's got to be
I'm just telling
Elvis.
That he is known as the king. And he
That's Elvis.
Rock and roll.
Oh,
so he was the king.
Yeah, I guess he did
of
call
rock
him
and
the
roll.
king. Okay, who is that? The real.
Well, Chuck Berry
Berry
is the one who made rock and roll.
Okay, so he's the king.
You're going to give the king back to the black man. Mm-hmm. Crown him, sister. Crown him. And that's this episode.
So we need to stay tuned for the Mariah Carey to see if she was crowned queen by the USTPO.
Absolutely. I vote no.
PTO.
Okay.
I vote no with the PTO. USPTO, I vote no.
Okay.
And we'll drink
I vote yes.
to that.
We'll see. We definitely shall see.
Don't put no money on it because I'm going to get it.
So can Michael Jackson say he's the king? Well,
he's not saying a thing.
But can Michael Jackson, if Michael Jackson coined king of pop, would you be okay with that?
Excuse me?
If Michael Jackson coined king of pop and trademarked it,
No.
you wouldn't be okay with
Too
that?
vague.
Too vague. Okay.
Yes.
You would be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not okay with that.
It would be like undisputed. He could get a worldwide patent.
What about
he gonna patent in the
Aretha
world?
Franklin, Queen of Soul? Too vague.
She can keep it.
She can keep it. They've already given it to her. I'm not gonna steal something from the black woman.
So because Mariah has a little white in her, you being racist?
She's got more than a little. She's actually transitioned and assimilated.
Are you saying she's no longer black?
I don't see any sisterhood coming out of her after she made her money.
I don't know if there was any before, but
there was a little. Oh yeah, the hair was wavy. You remember her hair was wavy, and she was to hang with boys to men, and most of her things was very solely.
I think after Old Dirty Bastard, it was like downhill from there. Me and Mariah go back.
Oh, okay.
You know that's all.
Stop right there.
Yeah,
because that's all we're not gonna pay for.
Yeah, yeah. That's why
I think that's a good. I like this game. Do you have any more? Do you have any more?
Like
she just can't have Christmas. If she was like, I am the princess of
princess. She's a queen.
If she was like, well, the queen of soul is already taken. So what is she supposed to be queen of?
Queen of.
Because Queen of R&B, I believe they're giving to Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, she owns that.
Queen of R&B is Mary. Mm-hmm. She's like the queen of pop. She could be the queen of pop.
I'm not mad at that.
She could be the queen of
pop. Tell her to pick something else.
But she's the queen of Christmas because her money indicates so.
No, very
that
true.
song
money
very indicates so.
Her
No,
money.
no,
No,
no.
her
She has a whole album.
She got a
the
whole
whole
album.
album is good.
It's decent.
No,
But
no,
that
it's
song,
Better than decent. Let's play the Mariah Carey version. Oh, let's play the Mariah Carey. There are versions of songs that you want to hear from Mariah Carey. Oh Holy Night is one of them. That one, or if you want to hear Oh Holy Night with Mariah Carey or Celine Dion or Whitney Houston, the only person who can beef with Mariah Carey is Celine Dion and Whitney Houston. After that, y'all gotta let her go.
Whitney won't be beefing because she's sleeping.
If Celine ain't said nothing, then it's all good.
And Celine is getting rest herself.
She don't have enough strength.
She looks sick.
She been sick.
Lord help her.
Allegedly.
Well, you got to eat. Nutrition is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's this episode. We're
thinks.
not asking Clyde nothing. The man can't even hear at this age.
Maybe all that screaming. All that screaming he was listening to all them years.
Listeners, that's episode 49 for you all. We pushed it out today. And if you're looking on video, you're going to see that we were wearing blue, but there's nothing blue about us.
Yeah.
Make sure you see our episodes. Find them every week on Spotify. Apple Podcasts.
Apple.
And Google Podcasts.
When you Google us, don't Google the affirmative. Diva Court, the best show on podcasts and Google.
And be sure to catch our videos each week on YouTube. And you can Google the best podcast, Diva Court, so that we can pop up. Because we will.
Definitely.
This episode was sponsored by Cutie Nails and Spa, where there is no harem of cuties. They do manicures, pedicures, facials, and lashes. Enjoy a spa experience and let a team of cuties take care of you.
Let's do it.
And as we say here on Diva Court each time we close, we'll drink to that.
I need to do that before I sweat out my hair.
Girl, that hair is already gone.
You used to lie and the truth.
You came in with a bowl and you leaving with a bowl.
Everybody be telling me my hair cute. So haters,
look, Helmet Head. You work at Helmet Works.
Haters gon' hate.
Helmet Head.
Haters gon' hate. It's all good.
We got to drink to that.